on the near side of the field as well as on the far side, where there are flags fluttering on both sides, and we're almost ready for the off. I suppose the Irish team to begin with is coached or managed by the team manager Paul Ryan, who's from Cork. He's involved with the Midland Tigers. He's a logistics project engineer with PM Grove. Coached then by Sean McElhone, a Toomsbridge man of County Antrim, a member of Cargan GAA Club, from up there at the top of Lough Neagh. And McElhone has really stamped his own on the team here. He's assisted by Paul Brogan, who works with Philip McElhone in construction, and Pat Levy from Mullingar. Also Brian Curran of the Leaside Lions. And we'll talk a little bit more about the game in Ireland and indeed in Great Britain as the game develops here. The Great Britain team managed by Adam Bennett. And the throw-off is in. We're away.
And an infringement straight away, a player entering before the ball had left the umpire's hands, entering the square, which results in a free to the opposition. So Martin Hinchy took that one there for Great Britain, and they're up and running.
Long ball sent in there, one inside by Sean Paul Henry. It's easy to confuse Kevin McSorley and Sean Paul Henry, two of the Belfast Redbacks. Actually, that was Brendan Kelly even. Another guy that's very easily confused. We've got a throw in here in the out of bounds area of the field, and the play developed through the centre. The Great Britain Bulldogs looking to work the ball, handballing it off, sending it in long there. It's broken away from the number 2, Chris James. He's been a really big threat for them thus far, and there's a fine score and a goal kick by David Saunders.
Yeah, keeping up his record. He's scored in every game so far, so certainly continuing in that vein, and a great start for Britain, but they've been doing that all week. They've been getting great starts in games.
Saunders, James and Sam Willett have been massive all week in the games for the Great British Bulldogs. Have been very impressed by their footballing skills, their physique, and indeed the strength and conditioning is something that is very, very strongly eminent in the teams that are here, and particularly in these two teams who make up our grand final today. The Irish need to settle down a little. They need to get a bit of control on possession, and as I said, the Irish are the number 1 ranked team in the World Football rankings, and they'll be looking to try and get on top here pretty quickly. They're spined by Belfast Redbacks, and here the umpire throws it in.
Already we're seeing that the British tactic is to try and get numbers into that square and make it difficult for Ireland to get a clean kick into the forward line. So smart setup by the Britain team.
Yeah, they've definitely pushed up. Here's a chance. It's going in long. It's in towards Brian O'Connell. Murray Barkley coming towards it. The number 24 there for Ireland, Ryan McCluskey. Ninga just slips from his possession, and now the British will look to build slowly from the pocket area. Not letting very much space happen there. We see things here encroach slightly into the 50. That's cleared very well by the British number 4. That's Graham Bickerdick. We've got our roving reporter down on the sideline. We'll be going down to him very soon. That is Kieran Hart. There's a ball won by Brian O'Regan, the Irish captain. Castleconnor GAA club man from County Galway, a Galway Magpie and captain of the Irish team. County Sligo, sorry, Castleconnor. We're on the Twitter earlier wishing him best of luck. He plays with the Galway Magpies in Galway. O'Regan, a strong footballer, a very, very capable player. There's the number 16 over there on the far side, Ger Walls, who has been central to the Irish defensive units and developed the play very well at different stages in their games to date. And now we'll go down to Kieran Hart.
We are here live down on the side of the sideline here. It's been a cracking start to the contest. Just being down here at player level, you really get a sense for how hard they're throwing themselves in at the ball. And I tell you what, that first goal kicked by David Saunders for Great Britain absolutely got the players alight. They were going hard at it. So it's going to be close, and we're keeping you up in contact. I've also got here Ben McCormick, head of AFL Europe. Ben, what have your thoughts been to the opening of this match so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Red hot contest, and the boys are really going for it here. We've got a 50-metre downfield, which will take Rod Stewart, Morris Bartley into goal for quite an easy kick for him. He's a goal machine, and he's enjoyed that one, and that brings him on level peggings.
Maurice Bartley kicking the score there, and the Irish are back on level terms here. We've got a game on our hands now. Things are tightly poised.
Just the kind of start we were expecting, Finbar, that it is going to be a close contest, and it's great to see that Ireland coming level so soon after Britain taking that early lead.
It is a fine response indeed, and up we go for the throw in here. It's contested by the Irish number 26, that's Paul O'Halloran. It's won by the British. They're developing through their number 11, that's Sam Boyd. Sends it up, and it's intercepted there by the aforementioned Kevin McSorley, the Belfast Redback. Another guy from the Cargan GAA club up there in County Antrim sends it in long. The mark wasn't taken by John O'Regan. It crosses the English 50 metre line, and the umpire's in quickly. He's separating a tense situation.
Paying the free there to Ireland. It would appear obviously a physical contest, very evident from the pictures. Interesting to see Kevin McSorley, who you just mentioned, lining up in kind of a holding role at the back of the square for Ireland.
He does seem to be indeed, and in fairness, I suppose the Irish team through the coach McElhone have been quite defensive this week. Back down to Kieran.
Right, from down here on the ground, it is really a strong breeze that has blown up. It is 2 goals advantage in it, I reckon, and that's towards the Ireland goal. So they would want to be up by quarter time. They're going to make advantage of this breeze.
That's correct, Kieran. The elements have been consistent all week, where we've had the breeze blowing in to the Ballymun Road end of the DCU Sports Grounds. There's a long high kick in towards the pocket, but that's going to travel out of bounds on the full, and we're going to be restarting back there deep in the pocket, and it's very clear to see that this game is going to be quite clustered, and the Centerfield area is critical. There's a bit of a skirmish going on out there in the middle.
Yeah, a tactic you see in Australian football a lot, where players will bunch for a kick in and try and spread out, but obviously both teams are attempting it there. So Ireland are trying to Britain are trying to bunch, and all the Irish players are going in amongst them, and what you're seeing then is a bit of a scrum, I suppose, is the only way to term it.
I have to say I've been impressed so far with the British team. Their goal kicking skills, their catching and kicking abilities are pretty prominent. There's a strong tackle going in on Maurice Bartley, and a lot of ooh-ahing from the British. David Gamble there with a very strong tackle.
It's David, a player with the South Cardiff Panthers, although a Scot himself. He plays for Scotland in the Euro Cup every year.
Team GB here are quite strong in the tackle. They're looking to contest every possession available to them. The umpire's in quickly, giving the advantage to Great Britain. The Bulldogs look to work it short. There's a mark taken by their number 6. Number 6 is Mark Ireland from the Sheffield Thunder. Mark was very impressive in one of the games earlier this week. I think it might have been their game on Tuesday. There's a long ball going in towards, and it's kicked through his own goal by John O'Regan, which constitutes a behind.
Yeah, a rush behind there from John O'Regan. Obviously they've spotted the threat of the British forward line, didn't want to take any chances, so felt it best to rush it through himself. And over on that far wing now we see John penalised for taking the player without the ball.
The game is tightly poised. We're at 7-6 with a goal kicking opportunity here now for the number 20 for Britain. The number 20 for Britain is Owen Ryland, another South Cardiff Panther. And the runners are coming in there with lots of H2O in terms of the searing heat. We've had temperatures of up to 24 degrees here in DCU earlier today in what was a searingly hot contest between Denmark and Sweden. There's a behind kicked by the British number 16, that's David Saunders. David Saunders is consistently on the board here as a scorer. He's scored his second score of today out for a behind, and that further puts the Irish a little on the back foot. It's spread a little better out around the centre, head out there towards the flanks. The number 26 for Ireland is Paul O'Halloran. Breaks from his possession up towards the number 4, Mark Levy. Mark from the North Leinster Giants handballs it short to the number 8, an imposing figure of Kevin McSorley. Lets it drift in long towards Maurice Bartley. Maurice, a really fine proposition in footballing terms. A guy with Munster rugby pedigree. He's tackled there, and the ball's turned over. The British have been firm in their tackling. They seem very resolute, very determined, and quietly capable. I have to say that they have countered the Irish Gaelic football and capacity of the Irish squad very well thus far into the game. Ball sent in, searching high in there towards the Irish number 9, Sean Paul Henry, but the ball goes straight out and over the out of bounds line on the full. Going to be thrown in here by the umpire. Here we go, up they go for it. Breaks down. The Irish win possession. Let it go long. Out searching for the ball there is the number 20, Paul Redmond from the Dublin Demons. Strong tackles made there. The Irish look like they have regained possession there. The advantage comes their way.
A great tackle by Brian Roach there, and again we saw in that previous stoppage that Ger Wall's just setting up at the back of the stoppages, trying to get long clearing kicks when Ireland are in trouble.
Getting very little opportunity to get kicking the ball though, I suppose, Kieran. Here's the aforementioned Roach on the ball. He's been very, very impressive. He was very impressive the last night in their game against the Croatian, your own team actually, in fact. Kieran, I have to say that he was one of the guys that really delivered with aplomb for the Irish. And even though the Croatians were quite physical, the Irish dominated that match very comfortably, something that mightn't have helped them coming into this game today.
No, probably not, because this game is going to be a very different proposition. We obviously were trying to make it a physical contest for them. I think we did that, but the fact that our league in Croatia is played as 9-a-side told against us ultimately, because Ireland had more exposure to this level of play on an open field.
I suppose from that perspective, for our viewers at home, what goes into the preparation of these teams? I'm just going to flick down to Kieran Hart on the sideline.
Sure, the Great Britain team have made this a plan, but any time Maurice Bartley has gone near the ball for Ireland, he has been closely guarded and absolutely crunched by the Great British players. He certainly felt it after that last one, and I'm not sure if they're paying special attention to him or not, but he's feeling it at the moment down here at ground level.
I think you're right there, Kieran. He's a standout player for the Irish, and the British seem to have given a strong sense that they see him as a danger, or as a go-through man in the centre half forward position. There's a little bit of a schmozzle out there in the middle, but I suppose, Kieran, with this little break in play, what goes into preparing one of these teams for this European Championship? You know, they're very well conditioned, they're very strong. Your own Croatian team were no different in that regard. There seems to be a huge level of effort and energy put into the preparation of the teams.
All the teams make huge sacrifice in terms of, if you think about, some of these countries are quite large. Germany, Great Britain, getting around, organising training sessions. Each of them would have trained at least 20 times before coming here. In the case of Croatia, it was actually easier. Again, they train more often because all the clubs are based in the one city, Zagreb, so they would tend to train 3 or 4 times a week in the lead up to this. So you really are seeing a level of sacrifice that probably exists in a lot of amateur sport, but then the extra part is that they all dip their hands in their pockets to come to these championships as well, and that's something that we've really appreciated this week, that they've made the effort to come to Dublin, that they've made the effort to visit all its attractions and to enjoy themselves while they're here.
I'd have to concur with you there. I have to say that when I heard that, the extra level of commitment that's put into these squads by the players themselves is equally impressive, and I think they have really enjoyed their time here in Dublin as part of the gathering, and they've been granted a Céad Míle Fáilte by all here at DCU and elsewhere in the city, and I've heard lots of positive things from players from different squads in regard to how they've been welcomed here in Ireland. We have a goal kicking opportunity in here inside the Irish 50. This is a good chance for the Great British Bulldogs to stretch their lead, playing into the elements as Kieran had indicated earlier, so they'll be more than happy with how they've settled into this match. And let's see where this goes. Strong high kick. It looks like it's been delivered out for a behind, and that was from the inside centre pocket player that's on the British side. Their number 2, that's Chris James. Chris has been a very impressive scorer during the week. He's worked very, very hard for them. He's gotten a lot of scores in their games thus far, and I'm sure if you follow the AFL Europe Twitter feed, you'll be able to go back and search through some of the games and see some of the contests, because we've had some absolutely blinding games here as part of the week's championships. It's been very, very good fare, and as I said, the footballing skills are very prominent amongst this British team, considering I suppose that largely they're coming at AFL, some of them from maybe a rugby background or an American football background, and have had some involvement. There's a fine mark taken by the Irish number 16, Ger Walls. Ger Walls, a very fine player in his own right. He's a Belfast Redback, a strong key player. He's a red-hander, Lav Jarrett, GAA man from County Antrim. There's a ball sent in and across, but certainly it goes out over the out-of-bounds line and away.
Yes, indeed, Jared from the Lamdarragh club, as they call it in Belfast, but he's also had a little bit of time on the Antrim inter-county team, so you can see where that physical conditioning that he has comes from.
Definitely, and the footballing skills, particularly of the team that are spined by these Belfast Redbacks, this Irish squad, very, very useful. The number 23 there into the game new, known as the Terrier, that is Sean Fallon of the North Leinster Giants. Maybe the strength and conditioning programme is still on the go for him.
No, Terrier, a very, very fit guy, I can tell you that from experience. He plays at my club. He's a guy who's run 3 or 4 marathons in the last year, so he's certainly got lots of stamina. He goes at the ball hard, and when it's on the ground, he's got a great centre of balance to try and get his hands on it.
I have to say I agree with you there. In fairness, it's no slur on his side. He's a Castletown gig and GAA man from Westmeath, playing ruck rover for Ireland.
So Ben, first quarter down, Great Britain came out of the blocks, kicked that first goal, and then Ireland came back and answered again. How do you see the game panning out from here?
Yeah, really even start for the guys. Both teams really fighting hard, and for me, I think Great Britain probably edged them there in that quarter, just because of the, as you mentioned, the stiff breeze. It's probably worth 2 or 3 goals, and they've really come out of that quarter well. They're playing good football, possession. They're delivering the football well, and both teams are going really hard. So at the moment it's tight, but I'd probably give Great Britain the edge in the first quarter.
Yeah, certainly agreed. And I think it's been played in a pretty fair sort of context as well at the moment. Both teams going hard for the footy, which is great to see. No team seems to be the stronger physically dominantly. So it'll be interesting to see how this game pans out. But we'll be looking forward to seeing more of this in the second quarter as we go back to you in the commentary box.
Thanks, Kieran. And that leaves us finally poised indeed at Ireland 6. Great Britain Bulldogs 9, as we've hit the first quarter mark, and it's been tense, it's been tight, and no quarter asked or given, no inch has been lost by either team. I suppose realistically the Great British Bulldogs will be the happier of the two teams out there on the pitch. I can see the Irish management, our coach McElhone is really going through the finer points of what their challenge is in the next quarter as they play into the elements. But I would imagine that Adam Bennett and his support staff will be very, very happy with where they're at this first quarter break.
Yeah, the British coach Mark Pachura, a very experienced guy. He's been involved with this team now for probably 3 or 4 years, so this for them marks something of a summit. Mark is about to return home with his family to Australia, so there will be a changing of the guard, and certainly if they were to come out on top today, there's no question it would be one hell of a way to finish his GB Bulldogs coaching career.
I suppose in that context, AFL in both Ireland and in the UK, obviously the game receives some exposure over here through the mainstream media, but where does the love or the enjoyment or the interest and indeed the organisational structure come from in terms of these championships and the level of interest that first of all they generate and second of all they involve, and say even from your own perspective, Kieran, where does a Mayo man find Aussie rules?
Well, in my case, obviously, I found it as a youth when Jim Steins was at his peak, because as you'll remember, no doubt, Aussie rules matches were shown every Saturday on Sports Stadium, and later in life I then came back to it. But there's very good structures in Europe now since AFL Europe was formed in 2010. That work was begun by the chairman at the time, Gerard Murphy. He put structures in place. He encouraged us to do things in a different way, to share information, to share intelligence, and what you're now seeing is the fruits of that labour. You're seeing countries who are competitive on the field but who work together off it.
I have to say, I remember Brendan O'Reilly and the Sports Stadium tapes from when I was a child. They were recorded You know, back in the good old days when Kieran was a child, I suppose Sports Stadium was probably shown live. I think RTE opened in 1962. That was probably around that time as well, yeah? We're about to get underway here for what's going to be the second quarter of this match. The Great British Bulldogs playing in towards the Ballymun Road end of the DCU Sports Grounds, and I have to say it's easy to see where Aidan Walsh and Michael Murphy and all of those hone their GAA skills. The fantastic facilities here at DCU, very, very impressive, and couldn't but be happy. There's a ball launched in very long by the number 28 on the British squad, and Chris James takes a mark in there, does he? It looked like it. And indeed it is. It's going to be a goal shooting opportunity or goal scoring opportunity for Great Britain here. That long searching ball that was sent in, we'll just check that out now for you to see who it was. That seems to have gone out for a behind. Yes, it has, and that's a slack kick. That's a little error from Chris James, and he'll be somewhat disappointed with that. And as the game has developed, possibly the British have had loads of possession, plenty of opportunity. Their work rate and their intensity has been up. Probably has been a little higher than the Irish thus far. They've been extremely strong in the tackle. There's Ger Walls in fighting for every crust he can get. Kicks the ball long, sends it up towards Brian Roach. Brian contesting with the British number 8, David Gamble. David Gambles, and he succeeds. One of his colleagues comes in behind him. The number 9, Ian Mitchell from the Wolverhampton Wolverines. And GB Bulldogs are really going at it here. This is, as Kieran cited, an immense opportunity for them. It's a great take by John O'Regan, the Irish captain. And the Centerfield area is a very important aspect of both teams' play here. Clear to see that, Kieran.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, some of the strongest players on the field are playing in Centerfield. For Britain, we're just seeing Ian Mitchell there kick that away. But you've got John O'Regan, who's been one of the stars of the tournament, running onto it, kicking long, trying to find Ryan McCluskey. Just slips in behind him, and you've got Brian O'Connell there. Oh, bit of a clash between David Miller, known as Flash for his speed, and Brian O'Connell, and David Miller still down. So the umpires will check to see that he's okay before carrying on. We can go down to Kieran on the sideline.
You could absolutely hear the bone crunching here from, I think that's little Davey from the Irish team. It was his own play. There was nothing malicious in that, but on the sideline, the entire crowd here next to me has just let out one mighty ooh, as you could hear the bones just crunch. An unfortunate incident. He's up on his feet though. Well, he's not on his feet, but he's got his head up. He's standing up now. He does look like he's going to be okay. But I tell you what, you wouldn't want to receive too many more of those sorts of bumps on a day like today.
Flash boom bang there for David, and we thought that ooh collectively was for Kieran's flexing of his muscles, a strapping Aussie down on the sideline here, wooing the ladies and others as well. We see the play develop out into the centre field area. The Irish get on top here through Kevin McSorley. Kevin looks to spread the play out to the flank. Brian Roach, this is the danger man on the ball, gets a kick through, and that looks like it's gone out for a behind. He'll be a little disappointed, tried to slice it off the outside of the boot, but all the same, it's a score, and that brings the game to...
that brings Ireland 7, GB 9, so getting closer and closer, less than a kick in it. Well, obviously a kick in it would put comfort Ireland back in the game. Just our apologies for anyone there that lost the stream temporarily. It was an issue with the satellite here in the area. But it's good to see that this game continuing to be tight. Sean Fallon kicking a great ball in there. Bobby Byrne out onto it at speed, but it's just turned in, and Britain covering at the back.
We've been watching closely as well for your Twitter updates. I think the hashtag is listed on screen, or will be shortly, and we're glad to see any interaction we can get with AFL fans across Europe or anywhere throughout the world today. There'll be a lot of expat Irish people tuning in for these games as well. Maurice Bartley snap kicks it there, and it goes out for a behind, does it? No, it's been ruled out by the umpire, and the benefit of the doubt has been given to Britain. So Britain are going to counter from deep in their own pocket.
Yeah, you mentioned many of the expats watching. Obviously, when the Ireland team won at the International Cup 2 years ago, more than half the team were based with clubs in Australia, and I know that a lot of them are tuned in tonight to see how their former colleagues are doing in this European Championship. And there we have a goal from Bobby Byrne from the South Dublin Swans.
Bobby, a fantastic little corner pocket, a very good little player. He's been very useful to Ireland. He's got some scores this week as well, and he tends to work off stretch. Brian O'Connell there, the man that was involved in the earlier contact between David Miller and himself. That flash boom bang we had in the middle of the field, and we take this opportunity to wish anyone who's not at home a Céad Míle Fáilte and hope that they're all well. And indeed, we're very excited at the prospect of this European Championship being decided here in Dublin, and then with a view to later championships down under and everywhere else. So the Great British Bulldogs get on the play again, look to develop things. That's McSorley again, very strong footballer. Brian Roach gets on it. There's number 6 Conor O'Halloran fighting hard for possession there. It's a real scrap at the moment. That's a great tackle there by Murish Bartley. Yeah, and he looks pumped after making that tackle. I think he's probably fallen victim to quite a few, so he probably feels some sense of redemption from that.
Paid to him though, so obviously the umpires felt that was in the back. But Ian Mitchell not taking enough steps back and being blocked down by Dominic Joyce, and they're now under a bit of pressure in that square, and Ger Walls coming up, just misses the tackle. And as you said, Kevin McSorley just sitting back in a holding role, and there he is. It looks like he's been taken without the ball there. So Kev has a booming kick, so this will go some distance. Seeks out his Belfast Redbacks team with Ger Walls, and we're off.
Yeah, they're formidable, these Redbacks. I wouldn't like to come up against them in any of the playing parks around Belfast. Here's Brian Roach after taking the mark. He's somewhat outside the 50 here. He's going to search out, look for Brian O'Connell deep in the pocket. Murish Bartley has gone forward as well. Long searing kick, looks like it's going to go out for a behind, but a good kick all the same, and that brings us up to a 1 point game. No, 14-9.
14-9 to Ireland now, so it's strange that in both quarters it's been the team that's playing against this breeze that's actually taken advantage. But maybe that's just a reflection of work rate, that they know they have to work harder because of the way the wind is, and they're putting in that extra effort. So Paul O'Halloran now probably just scuffed that kick. Wouldn't be too proud of that, big Paulie. Great player that he is. Winner of the best on ground against the Australian AFL AIS Academy team last year when he played for the European Titans in Paris.
Excellent player in his own right. British here looking to develop in towards the pocket. There's a mark on here. Let's see what's the umpire called here. I think he's calling a free, and he's given a free out there. The advantage going the way of Sean Paul Henry. That looked quite imposing and a fair threat to the Irish goal. I have to agree with Kieran there that we certainly see a harder work rate from the team playing into the elements, but most GA coaches would say the same. That's a fantastic mark by Brian O'Regan.
John O'Regan, great mark by him there, and a solid kick on then to Brian Roach, which is creating a platform for attack. Paul Redmond on the outside for the hand pass. Sean Walton attempts to tackle him. And the umpire says no, it's a British free, so I'm not sure what the call was there. Maybe just caught him high when he was trying to get possession there.
There's no doubt that a lot of these players make great sacrifices to play in the game. We can see there that Tom Brown, who plays his football with the Helsinki Heat Seekers, is in for Ireland there. Tom and Farrua on the Irish squad. Seems to be looking after the red-haired Gene up there in Helsinki in terms of AFL, and the Great British Bulldogs are really impressive here. Their footballing abilities, their skills on the ball, their ability to kick with some aplomb and some accuracy has been hugely beneficial at different stages in the game so far.
Tight call there by the umpire. Sean Paul Henry looked to have got the ball from behind with a punch away, but the umpire deems that he was actually in the back of the player, and I think that's Luke Booth, is it, for Britain lining up a shot?
Yeah, Luke Booth indeed it is. see. It's David Saunders, actually. Yeah. Difficult to distinguish here the numbers on the jerseys on the far side of the field. That's a good kick right through for a goal, and the British will celebrate that. That brings us almost on terms. There's a point in it. Britain up by 1, 15-14. Game is ever so delicately poised. A lot of strong tackles and strong challenges being made out there in the middle. The encroaching of the centre field area is very, very strong. Number 20 for Ireland, Paul Redmond there on the ball, tackled, knocked to the ground. And Centerfield seems to be the area, the key contest in the match here, Kieran.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you look at the quality of players that are out there in front of us in that square. You've got Martin Hinchy, he's played for the European Titans. You've got Ian Mitchell, captain of the GB team. Sean Walton, fantastic player who captained the European Legion team. So, I mean, both teams are putting solid footballers. And there we see John O'Regan again. Great clearance. Tom Brown follows up. Now, has he got the support? Isolated. Rare to see that for Ireland. Usually Ireland moving packs, but Tom isolated and left on his own there.
Yeah, I have to say we've looked a little bit defensive in terms of our attacks here, the Irish team, and that sweeper system. There's a great mark taken by the captain O'Regan, known affectionately as Plummer. He was levelled with a cruncher there from was it Chris James who put in that tackle? It looked a very, very heavy collision, and O'Regan is down, and he'll be nursing that one.
I can tell you from experience, not many things can put John O'Regan down. I've felt his shoulders on mine before, and usually he comes out on top when whoever he goes up against.
Oh, he's rattled there anyhow.
Serious crunch there on John O'Regan, the Irish captain. It was probably a little bit too late, to be honest. He had really kicked the ball, and Chris James came in and absolutely. Now, in terms of, he didn't get him with an elbow or anything, it was just straight up the line, hit him with the full force of his side, but it was a little bit late. It's good to see John O'Regan, though, has got to his feet. Hopefully he gets his breath back. It's bound to, one of those sort of knocks, tends to knock you off for a couple of minutes, so I wouldn't expect to be seeing the best of John O'Regan anyway for the next 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be replaced there on the Irish team for the moment. That was a heavy contact, and we hope we'll see the captain back shortly after the half-time hooter. The Irish have got the ball up into the English 50. We're looking to try and get something from this territorial gain, but the British are working the ball out very effectively. A short passing style, and then they release into the space. Checking back there, looking at Sam Willett. Sam, ball goes out over the end line, but it's a fair territorial gain, and really that's something that the British seem to have prided themselves on, is that territorial gain, being able to move the ball first at a relatively short distance from the back, and then gain distance when the space opens. And there's the Irish number 6, Conor O'Halloran, ships a heavy tackle, and I don't think the Irish coaching staff are very happy with that.
Oh, it seemed a strange call, but I mean, look, we're all human, and the umpires obviously have a closer view, but it did look like he was taken high and then he was given for dropping the ball, it would appear. Conor's someone I've been very impressed with. He's been one of the standout performers for Ireland this week.
He has indeed, and looking at this is probably a goal-kicking opportunity for the British team. It's a long searching kick in. And is that out for a behind? Looks like it. Yes, indeed. Confirmed. That brings us to 16-14. 2-point game. We've got a nice crowd in here in DCU now. This afternoon has developed into a very exciting contest. The number 16 there for Ireland was Gerard Walls. Long penetrating ball up there towards Brian Roach. Goes out over the end line. I have to say that the Irish are slow to follow up. They're slow to get numbers forward. They seem to be more committed to a defensive approach. Here we are. There's an opportunity here. Kicked in long. Brian O'Connell hairs out from the pocket. Ball breaks almost to David Miller. Let's see, it's handballed out there.
And James Flavin's just been pinged there by the umpire, Brent Morrison, for dropping the ball in the tackle. I'd say Ireland might be just concerned about James's injury there, because he has had some in the lead up to this tournament. But at half time, balanced on a knife edge, 16-14.
It's very much game on here, Kieran, and that does bring us to the half-time Hooter, and we look forward to the second half with some avid interest at this stage. I think the Irish coaching staff are coming in to have a word with the umpires, and
as we've been watching the teams come out to play, we've seen some really big tackles. I guess no other bigger bumps than that one laid just then upon Irish playmaker John O'Regan. He had been very influential in the contest to date, so it was a huge bump on O'Regan, and it really might turn the tide of this game. Great Britain have got their noses in front, but if anything we've learnt from this tournament, it's that Ireland certainly don't give up when they are behind. They've come out, they've beaten a few teams now when they haven't been in front, and they've been doing exceptionally well. So looks like we're in stage for a huge second quarter. Ben, where do you think this match is going to go after what you've seen so far?
Well, it might be a war of attrition. They're going in so hard into the contest that it might be the last man standing wins this. If they keep cracking in like this, it's going to take a big effort from both teams. You know, it's been a long week. This is the 4th game in 8 days. And I think fitness will really show out here. So whoever's done the work prior to coming to this tournament will probably shine and take away the championships.
It's been a different type of match as well to the 3rd versus 4th playoff. That we saw a lot more open. We saw the midfielders having a bit more time to use the ball a bit more skillfully, and it's a very lovely game to watch. This has been, I guess, the other side of AFL football, which is heavy and bone crushing and a lot of big knocks. I assume, though, that play might open up in the last half, and we might see a bit more sort of open, fancy football.
Yeah, I think that generally happens when, end of a long tournament and a physical tournament, it can open up in the end. But I think you see that because these two are the best two teams that are here, they're very well drilled and they're very skilled at making sure that they're shutting down space. So the space isn't there for them, and but you may see that open up in the second half. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few bounces and a few free-running moves throughout this second half.
Now, Ben, also, Great Britain have their noses in front. What will this mean for the development of the game in Britain, and I guess for such a powerhouse of Britain finally starting to win some silverware in AFL Europe?
Yeah, if they were to win, I mean, it's massive in terms of currently Ireland own all the major trophies that are out there for them to own. So if GB can knock them off here, it'll make a big difference to the sport. We're really seeing a great development within Great Britain across the 3 home nations, and that's down mainly to all the regional leagues that are over there. So I think the proof's in the pudding today that they're in this contest, and if they keep working hard, the fruits will show of their labours.
Ben, thanks for that. We are in for a cracking second half to this match. Can Ireland come back and take this title in front of a huge home crowd here at the DCU Sports Grounds in Dublin? It is going to be a great one. I hope you stay tuned with us, watching us through airtv.ie and also the score.ie. We're going to be back here after halftime break to see who is the champion of the 2013 AFL Europe Championships.
That's great. Thank you, Kieran. And we look forward to the second half. We'll be back with you after the break.
Yes, well,
back wide awake and with it after what has been a relatively short half time. These two teams itching to get at each other again. And a solid sound of our roving reporter there galloping over towards us with a vital piece of information. It looks like John O'Regan has not rejoined his trips as of yet. And here we go. There's a fight for possession out here in the middle of the field. Tom Brown getting on it for Ireland. Equally countered by the British, and there's a hustle for possession. That looks like Gerard Walls sends the ball in long and high. Searching, a good mark taken in there. Back deep in the pocket by Danny James. No, sorry, it's Inti Arburo. And there was a switch of numbers there in the British camp. Handballed off there by the Irish team, but to no great avail. There's a mark taken by the number 4, Mark Levy.
Yeah, Mark's been really solid under the mark this year. This is his first time really cementing a place in the Irish team. He's been around the fringes for a number of years, but this is his first time actually making it into a championship squad, so I've been happy with how things have worked out for him.
And I have to agree, he's been very solid for Ireland thus far. Ger Wall's on the ball again. A long searching kick. Searching for no one really. Brian O'Connell showed, but the ball beat him to the out of bounds line and out on the full.
I'm down here on the ground, on the sidelines here, with a few players that have seen their first taste of AFL over in Europe. I'm taking it they're Dublin boys. I've got Dan, Rob, and Sean. Now, Sean, it's your birthday. I'm going to ask you first. Is this your first time you've ever seen AFL football?
Yeah.
And what do you make of it so far?
That was very good.
What parts of it do you like? And does it remind you, I guess, you look like you could be a Gaelic man? Well, it's a goal there. Sorry, guys, going to go back to you on the scoreboard. That's a fantastic goal to Ireland. It's forward snap, kick out.
A goal for Ireland leaves the match at 20 to Ireland, 16 to Great Britain. And that was a fine score by Murish Barkley.
Sorry, Sean, we're rudely interrupted there by a fantastic Irish goal. But are there parts of this that you see similar to Gaelic?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the kick and catching.
And what sort of position do you play yourself?
Corner forward. That's the goal.
There's been a few snappy little corner forwards here from Ireland in McCloskey and Bobby Byrne. But happy birthday, my friend. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to move on.
Rob, yeah.
What have you made of the game so far?
Oh, it's brilliant. My first experience. I think it's great, yeah.
And would you have ever seen AFL on the TV before?
Yeah, once or twice from Australia, but I've never followed it now. But yeah, it's good.
It's great to have you boys down. And finally, Dan, who do you think's going to win this last match?
Ireland, definitely.
Good man. Boys, thanks very much. Back to you up in the commentary box.
Yeah, so Kieran Hart having a chat there with some of the spectators who are here for the first time. It's great to see first timers coming in. This is positive for our sport in the country because you never know, these are young kids who might take the game up.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. It's a very attractive proposition for any kid to come and see these championships in a wholesome method of sport. And maybe we'll discuss for some of the viewers at home. Here's Murish Barkley on the break. Oh, slices his kick after a great little bit of passage of play and footballing skills through the midfield. We might just chat about, for those people who are at home now wondering, how do I get attached to an AFL club in Ireland? How do I play this game? Where does it come from? Who do I talk to?
Our footprint is pretty good. We're spread regionally. There's a team in North Leinster which tends to cover, that's my own, covers Westmeath, Meath, Kildare, and even down into Laois. Then you've got two teams in Dublin, the South Dublin Swans and the Dublin Demons. You've got the Belfast Redbacks in Belfast, obviously, Leaside Lions in Cork, Galway Magpies. So there's a good spread of clubs, and there's plenty of opportunity. If people want to find out about it, they can go to www.arfli.com. That's arfli.com.
Yeah, I have to say, it's a new one for me. Being at the championships here, I know a lot of people from my own county would love this style of play and robust play, and I've no doubt Jim McGuinness and Mickey Hart would love to see players play in this game.
Just had a tweet in from Rob Fielder, who coaches the England team in the Euro Cup. Good to hear from you, Rob, saying there are British supporters there too. Ask the commentary team to speak to them. We'll do our best for you, Rob, and I know you'll be looking forward to the English team going to Bordeaux for the Axios Euro Cup, just a month away at this stage, and no doubt you'll be very proud of how your boys are going here. So play continues, and we've got a signal for dropping the ball there by the umpire, Josh Davey from Wales. He hands the ball. Now he's going to go for it's ball up. Dominic Joyce now in the stoppages for Ireland. Big Paul O'Halloran getting a break. Brian Roach out well in front again. Bounces that ball, just slightly loses control, but he's tackled without it, and that's very obvious mistake there by David Gamble for GB, and offers Brian Roach, who's got a big boot, a good chance there. Brian, a rugby player who plays in the Dolphin Club in Cork, so he won't be afraid to kick this long.
No, indeed, Brian has been very impressive all week. He was very, very good against the Croatian Knights on Thursday evening here in DCU. Long kick in, searching. Brian O'Connell spills it. It looked like he was going to take a mark right on the end line almost. It's cleared out on the full by the British. I wonder whether we're going to see Captain O'Regan return to the fold here at some stage for Ireland.
Yeah, it looks like the British boys are dominating the Twitter feed today. Hashtag EC13. Cameron James Cope, who's just returned from representing GB and Europe in the world team in the Australian State Championships, where he and two Irish players were part of a world team which won Division 3 this year, a massive achievement for them. So Cameron says, come on GB boys, sorry can't be there, kick a few more goals, the cup is ours.
The Irish benefit from a free kick here, and it looks like this is a good goal scoring opportunity here for the Irish number 15, Vince Manning from the Leaside Lions. Vince, a very nice footballer in his own right.
Faras Dangani Hoosh, Dingle in County Kerry, proud Gaelgore. He's been doing a lot of press this week in Radin O'Galtata and Radin O'Lifa, so and a great goal there for him.
Into the far and Dangan agus Dolam Shin Clehe and Wisa Chapan. Shinanacha Hoog She be or She Fui in Sa Chapan or Fau Quig Blina, and that's where he came across the AFL game. We now stand with 26-16 as the score. The Irish up by 10. Here we are now looking at the play. Vince Manning in there again. He's becoming active here for Ireland. The number 14 for Ireland kicks a long ball in there. That's Benny McDevitt. The Belfast Redbacks stolen there by the number 2 James Flavin, but the umpires are in quickly.
The umpire giving a call for a push in the back. Britain not too happy with that, but James kicks it on. Looking for Brian Roach again. Obviously Brian Roach is the go-to man here for them. He slips it inside. Just misjudged it on the bounce. James Flavin around it. Paul Redmond now kicks it through, but the British rearguard have it covered.
That's a great block down there by the Irish. Great bit of work by Brian Roach. British are working it by hand. Building from the back. Number 22 for Britain there is Sean Walton. Sean sends it up along the flank, up towards the number 14. The number 14 is Sam Willett. Sam's worked very hard, but he's tackled very strongly there by, was that Ger Walls? It looks like it was. Ger sends it in long, searching out a kick. The break is going to fall the way of Britain, and the number 22, Sean Walton again. Sean is robbed. Ball stolen, but a good tackle turns over possession. And there's quite a chorus on the far side of the field now. A lot of avid interest on both sides, and the tussles for possession are certainly falling the way of Ireland for the last number of moments. We've been camped here with the elements at their back down in the Great Britain 50, and here we are again. British building from the back. There's a strong tackle made by the Irish number 20, Paul Redmond, and here the Irish have the ball handballed off by Brian Roach. but the turnover in possession falls away of Britain. Number 7 is Tom Brown, the Helsinki heat seeker. And oh boy, is he seeking some heat in there. Some heavy tackles being shifted by both sides. Ball comes back out to Tom again. There's the heat coming again, but he just avoids it, sends it in long. Falls at the feet of, is it Vince Manning again? Vince is strongly tackled, and he's dropped the ball. He's dropped the ball, and the free is given against him.
Turning into a real battle of attrition now here. You can see nobody's getting a lot of time on their kicks, and this is where quality footballers really come through. When that pressure is applied, you see all the hard work that they've put in, because as you will know, Finbar, getting a kick away under pressure is the hardest thing in any sport.
Undoubtedly, and pressure is something not just for Tigers here today. It's something that we could associate with all elements of the game. And just as I say that, the Irish number 27, Shane Liddy, is blocked down right inside his own 50. The British are on the attack here. Chris James has the ball, and he kicks a goal as a result. And there's a turnover in possession, showing that hard work really will benefit. He ships a heavy knock himself, but he generates a very good score. That leaves the game at 26-22. Ireland in the ascendancy, but have probably been a little deflated by the fact that they've conceded possession there, and as a result have conceded a goal. As we wait for matters to resume out here in the middle.
Yeah, on the sideline we have Sinead. Sinead, is this the first time you've seen AFL played in Ireland?
I saw it last Saturday as well, for the first game of this tournament.
Fantastic. Is there anyone here you're particularly watching closely?
Yeah, my brother Paul O'Halloran is the ruckman.
Oh, very well. He has played number 26 out there.
26, yeah.
He has had a very good tournament so far. You must be proud.
Yeah, a couple of goals I think in the last couple of matches, so yeah.
Oh, that is great. We've just seen big Brian O'Connell there kick the goal for Ireland to answer back to that GB challenge. Fantastic spot for the GB players there.
Massive kick there by Ger Walls, right deep into the pocket, and Brian O'Connell getting on it, taking the mark and kicking the goal. That puts Ireland, stretches out the lead again to 10, 32-22. Back down to you, Kieran.
Nate, what has your family thought about Paul taking on a sport like AFL?
I'm sure they're fine about it. He's happy enough anyway. He plays Gaelic football as well, so he's well used to the bit of a rough old game,
And do you think he's a better Gaelic footballer or a better AFL player?
I don't know. I've never seen him play Gaelic football.
And now, final question from a lady's perspective. What do you think of the cut-off jerseys here the AFL boys are wearing?
I don't know. I think I might go out and buy one.
Sinead, thanks very much, and thanks for joining us here.
Thank you.
Sinead suitably impressed with the biceps and triceps of both squads here, and look, I think this game will grow on you. Paul O'Halloran, a tall ruckman, experienced, intelligent player. He's definitely a big asset to the Irish team. There's David Miller in the middle of the field. He looks to bring the play over to the right-hand side. Strong tackle on the Irish number 6, Conor O'Halloran. And the British have turned over possession. Their number 27 there is Alistair Lindop from the Manchester Mosquitoes. I'm sure they're a little bit more imposing than Mosquitoes. And break of the ball here falls away of Britain. Good work there by Matt Gilheeney. And we're contesting everything here. There's the aforementioned Paul O'Halloran. Paul has been very good right down in front of Sinead here. Referee calls for, the umpire calls for throw in. Ball to be given in, gives it a good old heave.
People can probably hear there in the background our head groundsman here, Ted, on his tractor. He's done a fantastic job this week. He and his assistant Teef, they've made sure that the surface was perfectly playable every day, that the pitch was lined out perfectly, and our posts were here, because obviously this is not normal in Ireland for us to have this type of facility at our disposal, so we're very grateful to DCU Sport for it.
Indeed, Ted Agus and Tara Cora, that's out for a behind for Great Britain. Ted is a credit, and as I said, it's easy to see why DCU is fast becoming a mecca for Irish sports people, and maybe it won't be long before we see a DCU AFL team as a result of these championships being here. I know that I've noticed a lot of the national photographers here during the last couple of days snapping away, and hopefully the game will only grow from here and get greater exposure. It's nice to see some young men in the ilks of a young Kieran Kilkenny and others down here below us. And undoubtedly, AFL and Ireland have been synonymous with each other from Steins and Kennelly's time to more modern days, where Nicholas Walsh is with the Great Western Sydney as a strength and conditioning coach, and who will return as the main strength and conditioning coach for the compromise rules game against the GAA players in October. A test here in Dublin and a test in Kingspan Breffni Park in Cavan. And the Hooter goes there for the end of time in the third quarter, with the score finally poised at 32-23 as we enter into the final quarter, down to Kieran.
A cracking third quarter there from the two teams. Ireland kicked a goal, and then Great Britain answered back with their goal before Ireland kicked a goal again right at the last minute of that quarter. Looks like we're going to have another epic tussle on our hands. The last quarter, can Great Britain conjure up everything they've got inside them to win their first silverware championship ever? I guess that's the most important thing here for Britain. It's their chance to really come and win what would be their first bit of silverware in any international championships. For Ireland, the pressure's all on them. They've never lost really an international tournament. They're in front of a home crowd now. Will they stand up, be stronger, be the heroes of the day, or are they going to struggle? And will the Great Britain come over for what would be a hugely famous victory?
It's a 9-point game, as Kieran says, 32-23. We're just going to check that. The scoreboard on the far side, not utterly visible here. We'll have that checked for you pretty soon. As I was saying, AFL in Ireland has been synonymous with Ireland since Jim Steins and Ty Kennelly's time. Ty Kennelly, obviously, grand final winning player with the Sydney Swans, and we have many players, GA players, playing in Australia now in the AFL ranks. And it's been confirmed to me there. The score stands at 32-24 in favour of Ireland. And Kieran, you've been keeping an eye on the Twitter feed.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in here. Crazy Dave says, great goal, will it? Hashtag Team GB. Hashtag better never stops. Hashtag EC13. So keeping those coming into us on EC13. Sophie Cooper says, go on Ted. Hashtag tractor lad. Very good, Sophie. Kean US says, what a kick, what a catch, and a great finish, presumably talking about the goal that Ger Walls and Brian O'Connell combined to get. And the Chippenham Redbacks, we've heard from Rob Fielder already, now we're hearing from the Redbacks official feed. Come on, Bulldogs. This is when we are most dangerous. Hashtag underdogs, hashtag EC13.
Absolutely. Underdogs, Bulldogs, whatever kind of dogs we're looking into this fourth quarter. It's a real dog fight to see who's going to come out of this contest. Let's see where it brings us, and we'll be back momentarily. And off we go towards this final quarter, closing quarter of these championships. This grand final has been a great occasion. The sky darkens a little. Hopefully we're going to stay dry for the last remaining part of the championships. And this has been a very sporting contest between two fairly evenly met teams. Ireland looking to conserve a 5-year unbeaten streak in championship football. Play develops there. Luke Booth winning possession for the British. Ger Walls was in quickly for Ireland.
Great tackle by Wolsey, and ball free given to Ireland for dropping the ball by Luke Booth. And he's obviously said something that's upset the umpire there, because Jared Walls has just been paid a 50-metre penalty, which takes him within kicking range, and it's on these type of incidents that games such as this balance.
I have to say I've been really impressed by these 50-metre penalties. If there are anyone in the coaching and games department of Croke Park looking at this, Wolsey kicks it in, but it goes out and wide for a behind, just wide of the main upright there. Certainly, cynical fouling is a massive topic in Gaelic sport at the moment, with a furore over Sean Kavanagh's tackles in Croke Park last weekend in the quarter-final stage between Tyrone and Monaghan. And I really like this idea of a 50-metre penalty, really penalising a team for play that isn't just quite correct.
Yeah, and it's not even play that isn't just quite correct. It manifests in absolute authority for the umpires, and there's a lot of talk in Gaelic games about a black card system coming in, but I think if there was a 50-metre penalty, you'd find that teams would be afraid to take it on. And I know that part of the voting process last year, when there was a public survey about it, was discussing the possibility of 50-metre penalties.
Yeah, I think that certainly it's something we could learn from this game. And the other thing, I suppose, the game in quarters, from a neutral sports person's perspective, is probably nicer than just the conventional halves. There's some great play here by Ireland. Sean Paul Henry and Sean McMahon combining carefully there in the Irish rear guard to clear the danger. British are looking to construct a strong attack here. The ball sent in towards Chris James. He goes up for the mark. He's well guarded there by Paul O'Halloran and Tom Brown.
Yeah, you can see the Irish are setting out their stall now. They know that the threat is going to be Chris James for these last few minutes. And as I say, Britain have gotten a goal. I'm not quite sure who that was. I think it might have been Luke Booth. And it makes this a match, because there are now just 3 points between these teams.
Yeah, Kieran, indeed it was the number 19 Luke Booth, and he shipped a crunching tackle there just after having kicked that. But certainly it leaves the game rather finely poised. 33 points to Ireland, plays 30 to Great Britain. And we're entering into the middle section of this final quarter. British back on the ball. Ball breaks away and is won back by the Irish number 27, Shane Liddy. The umpire's in quickly. Awards the free to Britain. Paul O'Halloran approaching the play out here. He's robbed by Chris James. The number 22 for Ireland there, Sean McMahon.
Yeah, Sean, of course, someone who's been involved in dairy setups over the years, so he'll need all that experience is going to be required if they're going to hold off Britain here, because Britain obviously have the wind advantage. They've played well all week. They don't want to leave anything behind today.
Sam Willett on the ball here. He'll be looking for a good old sideline cut here. Delivers it in long and high. It's hanging in the air. The number 16 for Ireland was Ger Walls. Pops it out there for a behind. Willing to concede the 1 point to maintain a 2-point advantage. And we'll look with avid interest now to see where this game is about to take us. It's been somewhat of a tense roller coaster thus far. The Centerfield area. Another big breakdown there. Dominic Joyce out to Sean Paul Henry. Delivered long. A fantastic mark there taken in the Centerfield zone by the British number 10. Ollie Delatio. Tom Brown and Joyce both go for the ball. Don't get it. It breaks down to Shane Liddy. Tom Brown takes possession. Still there for the Irish. And that should be an Irish ball, should it? No, it's gone for a British. British number 9, Ian Mitchell. Fires it in long and high. Hangs in the air. There's an opportunity here for a goal. And there is a goal. A goal scored by what looks like Owen Ryland. My, how that turns the tables for us now here in DCU. The home favourites. That 5-year unbeaten streak could be on the line now. 37-33. Owen Ryland with an absolutely massive score for Britain.
Amongst the Irish contingent in the crowd, and they have gone very quiet with Great Britain now just getting in front with 4 points. This is going to be a huge end to this match. Great British fans down here are roaring. It's going to take something special, I think, for the Irish guys to start cheering again.
The British have really got on top there. Number 11, Sam Boyd, sends the ball forward. It's going to be a throw in. The Irish need to get possession. They need to get the ball forward. They need to get Brian O'Connell into the game here. John O'Regan has re-entered the play right in the pocket, but he's a passenger at the moment. He's well out of the play because we're buried deep within Irish territory. The British more than happy to maintain the play down here. We're going to have a throw in from the umpire. Possession now critical. You have to think that the next score is going to be crucial for Ireland, whether it be for them or against them. As Kevin Keegan once said, there's only one team going to win this. Would you agree, Kieran?
Yeah, and you know, it's really finely balanced now. Just the slightest mistake could be so costly, and that's when nerves really apply to players.
That goes out for a behind and puts Britain up by 38-33. There's still a kick of a ball between these teams. Kick of a ball could win this match for Ireland.
I tell you what, the Great British boys have put in a lot of work to get to where they are now. You can just see out here on the ground, players like Luke Booth look absolutely out in their feet. I know he kicked a great goal before, but he looks absolutely stuffed. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep the run up and win this game from here.
Too true, Kieran. They do look absolutely zonkered. They have worked very, very hard at containing this Irish squad, but their game plan has been absolutely first class. They have managed to be able to counter the Irish threat. They've kept players like Maurice Bartley and others extremely quiet. Brian O'Connell now out trying to mix it up in the middle of the field. The umpire's in quickly. He's going to hop the ball. Dominic Joyce up to contest it for Ireland. Ball breaks. I think that was Ger Walls, was it? Sean Paul Henry, I'm not sure which one. Advantage falls the way of Britain. Kieran, this game is really finely poised. Where's it going to go?
You'd have to say, based on what we've seen of Britain during the week, that you would think they would be able to hold this out. They've been a really structured side. As you've mentioned, they've had a great game plan. So I'd have thought that they're going to be able to hold this out now. But look, you'll never write Ireland off. Ireland are renowned for their late comebacks, and at this point in time, there's just 5 points behind it, which means all Ireland need is a goal.
That's true. It's a massive opportunity here for Britain, though, to get some silverware. Huge potential for them to see this through now. Scrapping for possession out here in the middle. Number 9 for Britain, Ian Mitchell, gets on it. Pops it up. It's there, and anyone's a taker. It's a British hand that gets to it. Runs away with David Miller for Ireland. Guy we've seen in the Irish forward line earlier, now back defending. Looking to get the Irish forward. Breaks to him again. Flicks it forward. It's a great bit of handballing here. Some great handball skills. And number 6 for Ireland making the tackle. There's Conor O'Halloran. The Irish really need to gain possession here. Dominic Joyce goes up. Falls short. Conor O'Halloran's fighting for it. Free to Ireland. And this might be the opportunity. Now, let's see where this is going to take us. There's a mark taken by David Miller. He looks to go long. Coming deep. From the pocket is Captain O'Regan. Gets his hands on the ball. It's the first time we've seen him in a while. There's a kick forward by Ger Walls. It's in towards Bobby Byrne. Bobby Byrne's on the ball. He's fouled. And it's a free into Ireland. And I think that's met with both a chorus of cheers and sighs of relief to some extent.
Yeah, certainly it is. I mean, it was a well constructed opportunity. Ireland picking out their passes and their marks. I think had Brian O'Connell been underneath that ball, it would probably have been his. But Bobby worked incredibly hard, and he worked to be paid that free. He's got a huge opportunity now. If he can kick this, Ireland are ahead by 1 with only minutes to go.
I have to say we can't knock the role that the captain played in that. The kick at goal is good. A goal is given. And that leaves us with the finest of margins, 39-38. As it looks like the rain is approaching. And a chorus of the fields of Athenry break out here somewhere in the near vicinity. We won't quite ask Kieran to sing along just yet, although his singing voice hasn't been tested fully yet. Oh, it breaks here. It breaks for Chris James. This is the chance. The game's on the line. The umpire makes a call, and he gives the free in to Britain. And could that be it? Could the song be sung? Can't quite see her, but the fat lady might be singing. This is the chance. Chris James. He's had a couple of good chances in front of goal thus far. Here it is. The game's on the line. He's in no hurry to take it. Big kick coming up. Kicks it out. And it goes for a goal. My goodness. This game has turned on a knife edge. We've seen frees at both ends. And we haven't been in any doubt that this was going to be a close contest. Time is almost up. I see Coach McElhone on the far side of the field trying to urge his players forward one last time. Have they got it in them? 39 points to 38. No, sorry, 45 points to 38, indeed. Is the game still within reaching distance for Ireland? So we've got a slight correction on the score here. It's 44-39. The Great British Bulldogs are winning this contest. A goal will win it for Ireland. That's the only thing it will take now. Ball breaks out. Let's see who gets on it. Brian O'Connell contesting with Ger Walls. Two players collide. Possession still there. Umpires in to indicate. He's going to hop it. Here we go. O'Connell's up. Doesn't get it. Breaks down. Britain on it. Flicked, handballed away. That Hooter can't be far away now. Sean Paul Henry lets the ball forward. The number 24 for Ireland is Ryan McCluskey. Ninga gets it in the back. This is the opportunity now that Ireland have been waiting for. Lets the ball in long. Up they go. Ball breaks. And it breaks into a British hand. It's turned over. The number 4 for Ireland. The number 4 for Ireland is Mark Levy from the North Leinster Giants, and that's probably a match-scoring, match-winning score. Massive. A massive kick by the defender who'd wandered forward and has gotten what looks like a cataclysmic. And there's a Hooter, and Ireland have won with the last kick of the game. Mark Levy, the North Leinster giant, has got the game for Ireland.
I'm delighted for Mark, Stringy as we call him. He soldiered for years to get an opportunity for Ireland, but and then he gets that, the match-winning score with a minute to go. Like the Denmark game, very hard for Great Britain. They played a fantastic match. They've had a fantastic tournament. You do feel for them, but what a result for Ireland. I'm delighted for Mark Levy in particular. We'll keep an eye out there. Kieran Hart is in the middle. Mark Levy being held on the shoulders of the other players. Really, really, for someone that has tried for more than 10 years, who suffered from glandular fever and lost his fitness, to recover in the way he has and kick that winning goal, because he showed great composure, he showed great courage in moving forward, because it is a risk when the game's in the balance. It could have bounced in behind him and he could have been in trouble. And we've got Kieran Hart, and we'll go down to him there now.
I'm here on field with the match winner, Mark Levy, who just kicked the goal, the match tournament winning goal for the last kick of the game. Mark, what did you think when you had the ball in your hands there?
Get rid of it quick.
It was incredible. There was seconds left. You couldn't have known. The ball's falling at your feet. That is surely the stuff that every boy's childhood is dreamt of, no matter what sport you're playing, to kick the tournament winning goal.
Boys, I can't actually describe. All week these boys have nothing but faith. Sean McElhone, the whole backroom staff, every player, every day we're talking. Keep going to the very last second. It's what you're trained all the way through. Absolutely brilliant.
Well, mate, you have been an absolute champion winner. Get in there and enjoy yourself, Mark. Thanks very much.
Well done, Mark. That was fantastic. What a finish. What a finish to such an epic contest. And really, you have to feel for the Great British Bulldogs. They fought long and hard all the way to the end. And to be undone right at the final second, Roy of the Rovers style. What do you make of that, Kieran?
I'm flabbergasted. I managed this team for a number of years. I know what character they have. I know how hard Sean McElhone and Paul Ryan and the staff have worked to bring this team together. Sean was someone in the last European Championship who we identified as someone within our league who had the capacity to be a great coach, and he's shown it today. He set out his stall throughout the tournament to keep winning. They've done that, and they've had faith, what Mark just talked about. They've had faith in every game, and that really was shown by when you go for a last minute gasp goal and they got it. So I'm thrilled for them. Obviously disappointed for Great Britain, because I know a lot of those footballers, Sean Walton, Ian Mitchell, Chris James, who was outstanding right throughout the tournament, but we do need to go down to...
And Sean, we've got the winning captain here, the winning coach. Sean, how do you feel after that last kick win siren?
I don't know, very nervous, still shaking. Very tough contest. There was never any more than one score on the other side. GB, very good, proved so much over the past 3 years. Give us a real hard game. It was just one kick of the game, as you've seen. And our full back, our left half back, pops up. Wouldn't be known for his scoring prowess, but we got the goal, got to take the victory.
Mate, to win a championship by 1 point, there can be no smaller margin, and to do it within the last 3 seconds, there can be no smaller time. Surely this is the luck of the Irish for you guys.
Everybody keeps telling this luck of the Irish, but it comes down to hard work and dedication, and never let go. I see a few games during the week there, the teams have got turned over in the last quarter. You just don't give up. You have to have that mentality, and our boys do. We're a bit bigger than other teams. Sometimes we get over the shoulder a lot, and we're seen to be punished a wee bit. But we're working at our game. We're working at our discipline over the past 3 games, and we hope that put on a show for everybody watching.
Well, Sean, today you are the AFL Europe Championships. Go and enjoy that with your team, mate. It's been fantastic to watch.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Sean and to Paul Ryan and to Paul Duggan and the other support staff, and he's getting a good old Dyson there from some of his players, David Miller and James Flavin. I have to say that that's an impressive victory as we're likely to see in any contest of any type at any stage, but to do it here on home turf in the first European Championships held on home soil, it's a massive occasion for these Irish players, and indeed for the Irish coaching staff. And Coach McElhone there cited that he felt there was a never say die attitude about his squad. He's got a northern football mentality in terms of how he does things. We'll go down to Kieran again.
Ben McKenna, head of AFL Europe. We have seen one of the classic finishes to a match. What do you make of that?
Yeah, just, the luck of the Irish, as they say. They just continue to do it, and they prove that it's not luck. They just win close games of footy. It's amazing. They look dead and buried there, and, they're singing it with gusto. Well deserved.
Heartbreaking for the Great British boys. They came over here. No one was really expecting them to play at the level they have. They've come out. They were 1 point away and 3 seconds away from being AFL Europe champions.
Yeah, you got to feel for them. They, as you said, they've played an amazing tournament, and up until the last 5 seconds, would have been deserved winners. But this is the breaks with football. This is the great thing about our sport, and it's been a great example of how closely matched our best two teams are in Europe. And what a great contest! Just you feel for them. Their heart breaks for them, but they've improved out of sight, and they'll be back, and they'll win something very shortly, I'm sure.
There'll be a lot of disappointed boys in that squad. They had some fantastic players all throughout the tournament. To go so close probably even hurts more than, say, if you lost by 2 or 3 goals, crazy enough. Hopefully, though, they will use that to keep the burning, keep the training going, keep all of it happening, because, as you said, they've got some great building blocks there to make a great team, and we wish them all the best. To the victors go the spoils, and I must say it's great to see such a huge crowd that's come out to the match here around the Irish team. It's also great to see we've got some kids over there hitting the hurling sticks. We've spoken to them throughout the game. A lot of them said it's the first time seeing AFL. What a great spectacle for them.
Yeah, it's just good exposure for our sport, and these kids they grow up with their native sports, their Indigenous sports, just like AFL is to Australians. Great for them to be able to come out and enjoy such a spectacle, and we really hope that it continues to kick off participation not only in Ireland but all across Europe. The streaming's been fantastic throughout the week, and I think it's been great for the coverage and just the development of the sport. I'm really excited, and what a great spectacle we've witnessed. So well done to Ireland, and commiserations to GB.
As Kieran heads over for the presentation party to take place, the victor indeed, and to the victor go the spoils. You have to feel for the Great British Bulldogs, some stalwart performers, some of the people we highlighted there today. Sam Boyd, Adam Bennett, David Gamble, Mark Ireland, indeed Chris James, David Saunders, Sam Willett. Some huge performances from them during the week, and they've added greatly to the tournament as a whole. I suppose, Kieran O'Hara, as tournament director, you'd have to be a happy man with the standard of play, the standard of umpiring, the standard of everything that's gone on all week.
Absolutely overjoyed with how everything has gone this week. Obviously, I've worn a lot of hats, and coaching Croatia has meant that others have had to take up an awful lot of the work this week. So I want to thank a certain number of individuals in particular. Cian Quigley, who stepped in this week as president of the league and has been the tournament director in reality and has done an absolutely immense job. John Enright, who looked after the umpires, Shane Hill and all the umpires for coming to Dublin and giving us their time, because they're volunteers too. It comes out of their pocket too, and we appreciate it. We want them to know that. We're very grateful to our sponsors, to Discover Ireland, who've helped us out, to DCU Sport, to D2, where we'll be having the after party later on. So if you're around town and you want to meet all these footballers, they will be in D2 later on tonight. To the Australian Embassy, who've sponsored the Best and Fairest medal, to Unifar, who've provided all the medical equipment, all of those who have backed us, and of course to Jeep, who continue to consistently back Irish footy and its development, and to AFL Europe and the staff there, Gael, Ben, Slava, who've supported us all, and in particular Kieran Hart, who we've heard very obviously all week, and he's done a fantastic job as media officer. He's ensured that when we had this opportunity, we were able to exploit it and get a lot of publicity for it.
I'd agree completely. A very substantial championship.
And just one thing, to thank all the volunteers who've manned the barbecue, who've manned the gates, who've sold the programmes, who've done all the work this week. We really, really appreciate it. It's been an amazing occasion for Irish footy, so thank you.
Certainly it's onwards and upwards for AFL in Ireland, and what have we got to look forward to now, Kieran, in terms of AFL for this Irish team in the time that's ahead and beyond? There's Bordeaux Nines, there's World Championships in Aussie. You want to fill us in on some of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the Nines team this year I think is going to be more of a development team because this has been the focus, but that's great too because it offers some new footballers some opportunity and a chance to get into this group. For this group, a number of them will make the World Cup team next year, the International Cup competition as it's known, but obviously the strength and depth comes there from a lot of the players that we top it up with. We have players playing at clubs all over Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne and Perth and Adelaide, and we're looking forward to mixing those guys in with the talented bunch of players that have had the resolve to win out this tournament. And we think that if it all comes together, these teams will do very well. But just a note for some of the other teams in this competition, we've seen Sweden really impressed this week. We've seen Denmark so unlucky in games. We've seen GB right up until the last minute giving it their all. The future for European footy generally next year at the International Cup is huge. There's immense potential there.
Very good. And I suppose, given the standard of the games, given the quality of the football being played, surely some of these guys have an opportunity at a future in the game consistently, and possibly, have we seen any standout talent in your mind this week?
Yeah, I think there's a young player who we've spoken about in detail and over the course of the match is Mikkel Q from Denmark, who is still only 18 or 19. He's his third-year European Legion player. I think we can definitely see Mikkel. It'd be great to see an AFL club take this opportunity and take him out there. But for any clubs, state level, local level, if they're looking for good footballers in Australia, we've got an ample amount of them here and they want the experience of playing over there.
Okay, that pretty much wraps up where we're at here in the DCU Sports Grounds as the presentation takes place in the gantry, out in front of the gantry in front of us here. We're more than thrilled with the result, but we also have to tip our hat to what have been a fantastically gallant Great British team who were stung right at the death in what was an epic encounter, and very mindful of their coaching staff and them as they travel away from Dublin this evening, and the teams who have given a great deal of energy and enthusiasm to us as commentators and to indeed administrators and facilitators of the competition during the week. The 6 teams, Ireland, Great Britain, Denmark, Sweden, Croatia and Germany, have been excellent ambassadors for their country. It's been a trouble-free tournament, and we've been very, very fortunate to have been here to enjoy it. From here and for now, Slán agus Bannacht.